I got sent a meme that purported to be a section of a judgment in Canada where an individual by the name of Mr. Neufeld was allegedly ordered to pay $750,000 Canadian because of speech that allegedly injured, harassed, whatever you want to call it, the trans community up in Canada, in British Columbia more specifically, which is the epicenter of woke in Canada. And the reason why he was a former school trustee who allegedly made posts while in his position of school trustee that violated the civil rights and dignity of the trans community. We'll read the article, and then we're going to read a couple of sections from the ruling because it will blow your freaking mind. Now, it's coming out of the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal, the BCHRT, Human Rights Tribunal, hormone replacement therapy. Is that a coincidence or did I just make that up? I made that up. That's copyrighted, my joke. Nobody gets to use it. This is out of the Commie Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, writing, former BC school trustee ordered to pay $750,000 for hate speech, discrimination, Human Rights Tribunal. Tribunal says Barry Neufeld, quote, invoked negative and insidious stereotypes, end quote, about 2S LGBTQ plus people by Lauren Vanderdeen. There you got. Former Chilliwack BC school trustee has been ordered to pay $750,000 to LGBTQ teachers and a class of injured persons. It's Canada, people. BC Human Rights Tribunal has ordered former Chilliwack school trustee Barry Neufeld to pay $750,000 for violating the Human Rights Code by publishing hate speech and discriminatory content against 2S LGBTQ plus people. Quote, Mr. Neufeld invoked negative and insidious stereotypes about LGBTQ people, especially trans people, which denied their inherent dignity and, in some cases, reflected the hallmarks of hate against them as a group, the tribunal said in its decision. Neufeld was one of the loudest critics against BC government's move in 2017, directing school boards to update codes of conduct to address bullying based on SOGI. I want to remember what that is. Sexual orientation and gender identification. It actually sounds like a disgusting Japanese form of pornography, SOGI. SOGI, sexual orientation and gender identity, according to the tribunal's decision. For 5 years, he publicly denigrated LGBTQ people and teachers and associated them with the worst forms of child abuse. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I going to face issues in Canada if I say that hormone replacement therapy and gender-affirming care for minors is child genital mutilation? Have at it. That's what it is. Oh, no, you can't say that because now you're denying the existence of trans children. We'll get there. Neufeld did not respond to CBC News' request for commentary by publication deadline. The complaint was brought to the tribunal by the Chilliwack Teachers Association of BC, whatever, and on behalf of their members who identify as LGBTQ. Tribunal's decision noted it used the LGBTQ term in its decision as set out in the association's initial complaint, but did not intend to erase or overlook the breadth of sexual and gender identity. Just put the frickin' plus in there. Just skip the 2S LGBTQIA. Just put plus. Plus maps. Neufeld's publication included Facebook posts, a speech at a gathering, a widely circulated email, and comments at a school board meeting. Tribunal found 6 of his publications were likely to expose trans, gay, and lesbian people to hatred or contempt based on their gender identity. These publications demonize and delegitimize trans people, and in one case, lesbian and gay people, and cast them as a powerful menace threatening the security of children and their families. Anybody, straight, gay, lesbian, whatever, who wants to allow gender-affirming care on children is a threat to children, period. They are promoters of child genital mutilation, period. And now you get, it's more likely to do with his role as school board trustee than just Canadian podcaster. This is where Canada's going. It's not just outlawing speech. It's criminalizing thought. It's criminalizing conscience. It's criminalizing religion. More than 20 of Neufeld's publications indicated discrimination or an intention to discriminate. Discrimination or an intention to. You haven't yet discriminated, but I get the feeling you intend on doing that against 2S LGBTQ plus people in Chilliwack. We can skip the rest of this. We got to get to a section of the ruling, or actually more like 3 sections, which I highlighted in the post, that will make you never want to go to Canada. Certainly, you go to Canada and you realize like you're facing tyrannical forces of government that are as oppressive as China. So my post, which I put out on Twitter, had a section of it. It's, this is not fiction. It's Canada. Recent tribunal ruling out of British Columbia ordered Barry Neufeld, school board trustee, for 5 years to pay $750,000 in damages. This is what the tribunal actually wrote. I'll bring it up so that you don't think I'm misquoting or otherwise exaggerating. Paragraph 55 of the tribunal, they write, "We can think of no better example for how trans people," they've now created a word, there's not a hyphen, it's trans people, "are denied than this passage. Trans people are, by definition, people, quote, whose gender identity does not align with the sex assigned to them at birth." Hansman at paragraph 12. They're citing absolute fiction as authority. 2 + 2 = 5. I can think of no other passage that shows the egregious mathematical calculation error by Mr. Neufeld than him not saying 2 + 2 = 5, because I clearly see it here. This man identifies as 2 + 2 = 5, and how dare you deny his existence? Listen to this. This is the quote from the decision. "If a person elects not to, quote, believe that gender identity is separate from sex assigned at birth, then they do not, quote, believe, end quote, in trans people." Read that and read it 5 times. If a person elects not to believe that gender identity is separate from sex assigned at birth, then they do not believe in trans people. No. I believe in schizophrenia. I mean, and that's without judgment. Are we saying that schizophrenia doesn't exist? If someone is schizophrenic, I don't believe their delusions, but I believe they are delusional. But believing that you're not a male and that you are different from your sex assigned at birth is no different than a schizophrenic thinking that he or she is the king or queen of England. I don't deny their delusions, but I deny the accuracy of their delusions. This is a form of existential denial. Ogre, paragraph 7, whatever that means. At paragraph 61, "It is not, as Mr. Neufeld argues, akin to religious beliefs. A person does not need to believe in Christianity to accept that another person is Christian. However, to accept that a person is transgender, one must accept that their gender identity is different than their sex assigned at birth." I don't believe it. Never will. If you think that you're not a male because you don't feel like a male, I will agree that you have gender dysphoria. If you will argue that, well, it's not causing me discomfort, so technically it doesn't fit the definition of gender dysphoria, then I will say, all right, you have a delusion of your own reality. You're entitled to it, and I'm entitled to reality. They go on to say this is not quite as shocking to the conscience or to intellect or to human dignity, as this tribunal has recognized, quote, "the question of whether transgender people exist are entitled to dignity in the province is as valuable to ongoing public debate as whether one race is superior to another." So they say that denying someone who says, "I'm a boy despite having a vagina," that is tantamount to saying whites are better than blacks or blacks are better than whites. This is what you call mental gymnastics of the highest order. It's what you call suicidal empathy, because this is societal degradation of norms and standards and freedoms. People can do and live beyond the binary. People can and do decide, oh, this was the good one. Hold on 1 second. I think I highlighted in the second. There we go. Oh yeah. Listen to this. Paragraph 55 in the middle. People can and do live beyond the binary. What the fudge does that possibly mean? Live beyond the binary. I would put that on a shirt if I were so inclined to make money off of this. Still think live beyond the binary. Oh, you'll have a group of people who are going to buy that up. People can and do decide that they were assigned the incorrect gender at birth. Why'd you say gender there? Did they get the wrong sex at birth? This is a human rights tribunal that has the authority to levy massive, massive penalties. People can and do decide that they were assigned the incorrect gender at birth, end quote. Trans people are here, existing in schools and homes and workplaces, as Mr. Hansman characterized it during his testimony. No matter the attempted erasure by some facets of Canadian society, the existence of trans and gender diverse individual is a fact. Quote, they are there. There are students enrolled in British Columbia public schools who are transgender and non-binary. Likewise, school districts have employees that are transgender and non-binary. You have people whose gender orientation is different than what they want to have between their legs. Good for them. I don't care. Do whatever the heck you want. Don't make me call you a he when you have a vagina, and don't expect me to call you a she if you've got a penis. Don't expect me to tolerate or promote a swimmer with a paddle, that being his penis, changing in front of a bunch of unwilling girls. That's called abuse. Oh no, but now it's abuse to call it abuse. Paragraph 57, calling transness, quote, gender ideology, end quote, allows anti-trans activists to hide behind a veneer of reasonableness. It allows them to say, as Mr. Neufeld did in his statements, as well as at the hearing of this complaint, that they are not attacking human beings. They are simply opposing a set of ideas. Yeah, they are. We are. The idea being that you can think that you're a different sex than what's between your legs, what's in your chromosomes. But listen to this. This is a human rights tribunal reading like an activist organization with the power to create law, because that's what it is. But behind this insidious veneer is the proposition that transness is not real. Such phrasing can make it easier to ignore that trans people are human beings. Who the hell ever denied that? Who the hell ever denied that they are humans with all of the rights and protections under the law to dignity, to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness? Referring to, quote, gender ideology, end quote, or, quote, transgenderism, end quote, ism denoting a belief or ideology such as capitalism or communism, pushes the idea that trans people have an agenda rather than being just another demographic group. They do. And that agenda is to push gender ideology on children. As this decision illustrates, such terms can create the conditions for discrimination and hatred to flourish. Do you understand right now that this tribunal, if this decision stands, uneviscerated by the higher courts, which have to show deference to these administrative tribunals because of their degree of expertise, referring to transgenderism as transgenderism or as gender ideology in Canada, will literally be criminal effectively. It'll be hate speech, because by referring to it as transgenderism, you're making it an ideology and not a reality of people who exist. Holy sweet merciful hell. $750,000. There's the link to the tweet. And if it doesn't get overturned, if it doesn't get eviscerated by the higher courts who say, A, this is insanity, literally. B, you don't have the right to impose $750,000. How did they decide that? Where was the annex? You got the annex of all of his statements at the end of the ruling here. I hate the formatting. I can't read the left. Oh, there we go. That's better. Let's see here. There was a September 24, 2022 interview. Complaint alleged this interview violates the sections of the code. This is an interview that Mr. Neufeld gave to RH Media during the campaign for re-election as school trustee. Defending children's rights in schools. What did he say here? Paragraph 87, Mr. Neufeld says that schools should be doing things to help kids with, quote, genuine gender dysphoria, end quote, which he posits is about, quote, 0.5%, but says that, quote, changing the whole culture of the schools is having unintended side effects. These side effects include, quote, rapid onset gender dysphoria and growing number of kids, quote, bugging their parents for hormone blockers. He says this is largely happening to teenage girls. And, quote, if the girls were thriving, I might be tempted to go along with it, but they're not. They're miserable, they're sullen, they're angry at the world. He says that the language of, quote, being born a boy in a girl's body sounded like the language of sex offenders who use this to confuse and groom children. This is the type of statement. We don't need to go through all of it. This is the type of statement that he was just found liable for. That's insanity.